Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm so grateful. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the concept everyone is you pushed out. So, this concept of everyone is you pushed out, which basically just means everyone around you is a reflection of you, right? However, you assume, perceive, believe people and situations to show up, that is how they are going to show up, right? The basis of manifestation, what we teach in this community. Now, this concept seems very simple, which it is, by the way, but it seems very simple and uncomplicated in the beginning when you just hear about it or you just watch a video on it. And then what happens is your human mind digs in, okay? It starts digging in and it starts to get curious and find answers about everything that's happening in your life, okay? So if you hear that everyone is you pushed out, the way you assume this person is going to behave with me, that is how this person is going to show up. But then, because it's completely natural, okay, it's nothing wrong that your human mind questions things around you. Then once you come to know about something, you want to understand why everything is happening, okay, you kind of start going down the rabbit hole, and that's when this concept starts becoming complicated in your mind, because you're going around and trying to figure out why every person that I encounter during the day, why does this person show up this way? Why did this person say this to me? And even if it's a random stranger, you start connecting everything with yourself. You start thinking too much, you start over analyzing things, which is something you don't really have to do. So in this video, I'll try to make you understand, okay, that what everyone you pushed out is actually, and why you don't really have to complicate this concept to a large extent. Just know what it means and use it to your benefit for the people around you, for the people in your life that you want showing up a certain way. Okay, so everyone is you pushed out. Very simple explanation. The way I assume you as an individual who is a part of my reality, a part of my life in some manner. Either I'm working with you in office, either you are my family member, my sister, my mother, my father, either you are my partner, either you are my husband, my child, it does not matter. But you are a part of my life, okay? You are a consistent part of my reality, of my daily routine, of the places I go to. You are there in the gym where I go for working out. You are there in the library that I visit regularly. That category is what I'm talking about. Now, those people, because they are a consistent part of your reality, you have made assumptions about them. Okay, that law of assumption. What you assume to be true will be true. Okay, if you persist in it long enough, okay, if that becomes your dominant idea and belief about that specific person. So you make certain assumptions based on how they show up at the beginning. If some of your colleague is always late, okay, they always come in the meetings late, they always join meetings late, they skip meetings a lot, okay, and you're kind of fed up with it. Or there's someone who shows up in your office, a new employee, and you didn't really even interact with them, but somehow based on their appearance or based on how they're dressed or based on any first interaction, you have just made an assumption about them. And that is really easy to happen, because as human beings, being a bit judgmental is actually a part of our nature, okay? It's nothing negative that you cannot accept. We all end up having certain judgments about people, even if we don't know them that deeply, even if we have met them for the first time. There is some initial judgment that takes place, and it's a very normal part of human nature. It's just how much you want that judgments to stay in your mind, and later on, if you're open minded, close minded, are you acting upon that judgment? That really shapes your character. But the initial assumptions that come up in your mind is something which is a very normal part of human nature. So don't let that make you believe that you're a bad person or something. Now you have made a certain assumption about that person, and you are sticking to that assumption, right? For you, you're just saying that, this is how this person is, or this is how people from this place usually are, or this is how people who dress up like this usually are. and people who are too sweet in the beginning, they actually are fake people. These are all the different kind of assumptions we carry within us when it comes to other people. These are like just two or three things I mentioned, but we have a lot of assumptions based on someone's clothes, their behavior, their tone, their accent, which place they are from, what kind of family are they living in, what kind of house do they live in. We, as and when we grow up in this world, based on what we see, think, hear, the circle we hang out with, we gather in a lot of beliefs, even if we are not aware of it at a conscious level. We have a lot of beliefs gathered within us about people, places, and things. So, if that is how you assume that person is, you have just made that assumption. That is how that person will keep showing up in your reality. Just note this one thing, and every time you get confused about this concept, test it out in your reality, and always keep going back to this one point I will mention now. Why do you think different people have different kind of experiences with the same person? You would have seen this in your friend circle, in your workplace, where there are a few people that really dislike someone, okay, but there are a few people that really, really like that person. It's not because that person does not have a stable personality type, it's never that way. It's just that people choose different version of a person in their reality. Okay, in your reality you might have had an assumption that person is rude, and you stick to it, and that's why you have chosen a rude version of that person. Okay, there's never one version of a person, you have infinite versions. You have a different version that comes out when you're with your friends, when with your family, when you're at office, and the new people you meet, they pick up on different versions of you. And there might be someone else who really has picked up on, or made an assumption about you being really sweet, and that's how you will show up in their reality. So that proves, and it will prove again and again in your reality if you test it out, how just one single person, one single human being will still be perceived in different ways by different people. So it's not that that person is hopping around with different personalities. You are just choosing a different version of that person. You have multiple versions of you that exist, and you in your reality choose the versions of people showing up in your life, and same way in their reality, they are choosing a version of you that they have assumed to be true for themselves. For example, this is a really common one that happens a lot, that people just judge other people by their face, okay, because some people are not really expressive, they're not always joyful, they like being silent, especially the case with introverts. So I basically have the closest friends I have right now, they did have this assumption at the beginning when they met me for the first time, without me even having an interaction with them. They just assumed that I am a person who has a lot of attitude, because I always kind of have a straight face. Okay, I cannot be smiling all the time. It's just not in my personality. But I am a good person, I'm a good friend. But that is something they have assumed at the beginning before even talking to me. And if they would have stuck to that assumption, they would have just seen me in that light. That's the version they choose when it comes to me. But they changed that assumption, because when they spoke to me, we interacted, we really got along, we had common interests. And they changed their assumptions based on their experience that I am a good person, I have that potential to be a really good friend, and I'm a good listener, and all those kind of things. So now they have chosen a different version of me based on how I've shown up in their reality, right? And now, because I keep showing up that way, their assumption has hardened into fact. Okay, so for them, I will keep showing up that way. And if later on they ever try to change their assumption about me, again based on any kind of experience or something they hear, I might be showing up a different way in their reality, because people are changing all the time. You are just choosing a version of them, and you can choose to always choose a different version of them if you want to. So, people changing their thoughts, their opinions changing, their beliefs changing is the most common and consistent thing that will keep happening in this lifetime. You will never be the same person with all social groups all the friend circle you have. You will never be the same person with any random stranger on the road. And that is just a fact. That is just how it is. Don't take my word for it. Go test it out in your reality. You can experiment with it. You can try to change your assumptions about some person, about a work friend, a colleague, or someone in your family that you see a certain way. Try changing your assumptions about that person. Persist in that end state. Imagine some things that they are saying to you, and eventually they will show up that way. You can test it out for yourself. So that concept in itself is true. Now, when does the confusion come in for people is when they, as I said, when they start going and searching for answers about everything. They met a person randomly in a parking lot who was arguing with them, and suddenly they get really worked up. Like, why did this person show up this way in my reality? What assumptions did I have about this random stranger that they had to show up in my reality this way? Those are not the places where you should even give too much of your attention or focus or overthinking, because those are really irrelevant situations. Those random strangers come, something happens maybe, and they go away. Okay, it's just a moment you're having. We all have bad days, as I've mentioned repeatedly in my videos, that learning and practicing conscious manifestation does not mean you will never have bad days in your life. You stop becoming a human. You will, never have any negative days. That's a very big misconception people have about manifestation. I also discussed in one of my previous videos, which I will link up here, uh, that practicing conscious manifestation, working on your self concept, will make people come into your reality that think and feel about you in the same way that you think and feel about yourself. Those people will show up, okay? But that does not again automatically translate into, you will never ever meet a person who has an attitude, who is rude, who is not respecting you. And I'm talking about these random strangers you keep meeting, whether it's in a coffee shop, in a parking lot, at a mall. And I will keep repeating this in all my videos. I spoke about this 2 or 3 times in my previous video as well. Stop getting stuck in this one perspective and interpreting something in just one way. That practicing conscious manifestation means, I think I'm a good person, worthy, deserving, and that's how people will show up in my reality. Yes, those people will show up. Does not connect in any way to rude, disrespectful people not showing up. How is conscious manifestation benefiting you over this side? Because you practice self concept, confidence, you learn how to respond, not react. You know how 3D is kind of irrelevant, and you know that if the 3D is not in your favor, you actually can just disengage with it. These all things you learn in conscious creation. So when something unpleasant or a random stranger is bumping into you who's showing disrespect to you, you politely, kindly disengage with that situation. That situation does not deserve your energy. That situation does not deserve any of your focus and attention. Now, in my journey of consciously creating my reality, learning about conscious creation, and practicing everyone is you pushed out, what I have realized is that there are going to be always two categories. The first category I did mention in the beginning, right, which is the people who are a consistent part of your reality. You can change your assumptions about them and they will show up a certain way. Now, random people, strangers, okay, going down the rabbit hole. Why did this random stranger who is not relevant to my life is behaving this way with me? What I will advise you on that is, firstly, don't take it seriously, okay? As I mentioned, keep this in your mind that people will show up in my reality to reflect my self concept to me, but that does not automatically mean I will only always meet good people. But I know, because I have set standards for myself, I know which kind of behavior I don't have to engage with, which means these kind of random strangers showing up or showing you attitude or saying things to you that are disrespectful or trying to engage you in any kind of situation that is just unhealthy. Now, a few things I did realize, because this is something even I did question at some point of time. When you're at a learner stage, it happens, right? You want to ask a lot of things, you want to question a lot of things, because suddenly when you realize that everything in my reality is created by me, so this person coming to me and talking me this way, I created it. But why did I create it? So, you start going down the rabbit hole. And I feel going down the rabbit hole is okay with things you actually are relevant in your life, which means going down the rabbit hole to work on your triggers, traumas, your beliefs around relationships, your beliefs around money, because that is something you will keep focusing on to show up in your reality. I don't suggest you spending so much energy and focus over analyzing things that happen with strangers who are not relevant in your life, who will not be a consistent part of your life. Now, the second part of this is, even I did struggle. No, I won't say it's struggle. I did have this thought in my mind that, why do some strangers show up this way? And I could just figure out a few answers, which I will share with you. And that is also true. As I mentioned, when we grow up, we build up beliefs around a lot of things, okay, which we don't even realize at a conscious level. We are not even aware of so many things that are already set as beliefs in our subconscious mind. So I'll give you a very simple example. I had a bad um, experience with customer service, okay, and I've had a lot, and that is something which has been consistent in my life, because after I had it a few times in college, and these are about SIM card related companies. So I had a few bad interactions, and that I hear it also from people, right? When we are growing up, that customer service doesn't really help you. They always keep the phone on hold for such a long time, and you will never get the solution in the first call, and they will keep diverting calls, and you will never get your solution. Those kind of things. So obviously, I was already aware of those things. Then when I started interacting with customer care myself, somewhere maybe that belief, what I've heard over so many years, did come out, and I did expect on some level that I will not get my solutions. Maybe, I don't know. But I did have bad experiences with customer service. Now, around customer service, I really, even today, because I've not spent my energy on changing that belief, I don't care about it, I don't really want to change it or spend my time and energy on it, it doesn't matter. But I do have that really unpleasant belief system around customer service, any kind of customer service. It's had a ripple effect on everything, from your laptop, mobile, SIM card, customer service in the malls. Like, it had a ripple effect on this whole thing of customer service related to anything, any product, any service. That customer service people will never help you, okay? You will never get your solution. They will keep directing you from one person to another person to another person, and it's just going to give you a headache, okay? It's just going to frustrate you even more. And even with food delivery apps, like, that is a belief that is so strong in me now. And I don't wish to change it, right? I don't care for it, it's fine. I have to deal with it once in a while. I don't really want to spend my energy on changing my beliefs around customer service. But that's what I'm talking about, because I have a belief that customer service people, whoever it is in this whole wide world, if I come across a person, or if I need a person who's in customer service, either they'll be rude, they won't help you, they will show attitude, or they will just redirect you to someone else. And someday, randomly, if in a mall or in a movie theater or somewhere in some store, right, I need help from a customer service person, and that person is rude to me, I know where that belief has come from. Look, okay, I don't really have to dig down on that, because it's not really something I have to deal with every day. I don't care for it, it's fine. But I know where that belief came from, because I have a very strong, and I'm not even joking, I have a very strong, stubborn belief that customer care people just do not help anyone. Okay? And that person might show up that way, and that could be any customer service person. They will show up where they're showing me attitude, they're rude to me, but I will not waste my time going down the rabbit hole and trying to over analyze, overthink, because that's customer service. Dealing with them is not really a part of my daily life or reality, which is affecting me that much for me to work on that belief, or just let it ruin my day. So I have started disengaging with it. I have just stopped reacting to it with, like, anger and being short tempered around it. That is one change I made. But again, I'm not really invested in changing my belief around it, because I would rather spend that time doing something else, changing some other important beliefs that will actually make a difference in my life. Now, that's one example. Similarly, there are so many things that you have beliefs around, and you're not always aware of all your beliefs. Okay, that is why we say you have to sit down and do that work where you come face to face with your beliefs and change them consciously. Because while growing up, we can never even name the amount of things that have made place in our subconscious mind, and we have beliefs around them. We have beliefs around people from a certain location, a certain region, that people from these places always have these kind of accents, or people from these places always have this kind of mindset. These all are your belief systems that you have built by seeing people around you. You can call it those stereotypical generalizations, right? We do around human beings. All of that is your belief system. You are believing something to be true about a certain person, and maybe someday you met a person who was really rude in the parking lot with you, and maybe it happened once again, and maybe the third time it happened again when you were there with your friend, not with you. Now that reality showing up again and again and again will create this belief and assumption in you that things something has to happen whenever I come to this parking lot, or whenever I go to a parking lot. We always end up meeting someone who's really rude about parking. We always end up meeting someone who really wants to hijack my parking, my spot. And this is how you build beliefs in your lifetime, right? Now, what is conscious creation? Conscious creation is realizing you have built that belief and choosing to change it for your own benefit, because you want this thing, person to show up in a certain way going forward in your physical reality, because that is something which is affecting your life. These are the answers I have been able to find in my journey related to conscious creation. This is also a really common one, that people who look a certain way, they are rude and they just want to fight with everyone. So you assume that this kind of person who looks a certain way, who dresses a certain way, are always wanting to fight, argue. So if you ever come across that kind of person who dresses that way or speaks that way, you have that assumptions already within you that they will be arguing, or they will disrespect me, or they will fight with me. So these are some general assumptions we have about people, about strangers on this earth, that may also cause for random people to show up a certain way in our reality. Now, the third thing here is you don't have to pay attention to it. You respond, don't react, disengage with the situation. I know sometimes random people can really make us have a bad day, and that's completely fine. Go back home, go back to your safe space, go back to your partner, family, your friends, have a good time, talk it out, have some tea, okay, relax your mind, watch something really good, order some food from outside. It's completely fine. We all meet these kind of people who are, sometimes they just make you feel bad in a certain way. And it's really surprising sometimes, because even if we think we are this amazing, confident person, it's very weird that strangers should not really have that kind of effect on us. But sometimes, as humans, we are in a vulnerable position, and some random person we meet who was rude to us kind of makes us overthink, right? But that is not something you should pay attention to too much in your mind. Don't let it create any new assumptions in your mind. Just let it go, breathe, relax, and move on with your day, and go do something that you like. Okay, don't go down the rabbit hole of why this person showed up this way, especially when it's random stranger. Okay, let it be. These people will come up in our life, and you can't really do anything about it. The only thing that is in your control here is how you react to the situation, not let it become any kind of belief or assumption in your mind, and just move on with your day, right? And specifically with the first category, the dogs are here, especially with the first category, where people who matter in your life, in your reality, who you have to see every day, meet every day, yes, they will show up in a way, the way you assume them to. So, because they will have an effect on your life, because they will really um, translate how your day goes, with them, yes, put in the time, energy to change your assumptions about them that benefit you. But when it comes to random strangers, just let it be, let it go. It could be any belief you had in your childhood which you're not even aware of. So it's just going to drain your energy to go down the rabbit hole of why this random stranger showed up that way. Don't give yourself a hard time for it. You don't have to take any responsibility for that. Even if that person was you pushed out because I had a certain belief that customer service people are like this, even then, if that person is being rude, it's fine. I don't have to sit and listen to it or take that or engage with it just because some of my belief system is showing up outside. It doesn't matter. Okay, everyone is you pushed out does not mean you have to sit and take that behavior from someone. If that behavior is unhealthy, disengage with it. Okay, don't translate things into a certain way and be stuck in that perspective that everyone is you pushed out, so this person showed up this way, that this person was rude to me because of my beliefs, so I need to take the responsibility and I need to face the situation. No, it does not mean that at all. So stop connecting things for no reason and being in these kind of situations. Disengage, move on. Doesn't matter. If you show up in my life tomorrow and I assume you're rude and you're showing up in a rude manner, does not mean I will stand there and take your rudeness. Okay, I will disengage and move on. So, what does everyone you pushed out does not mean? It does not mean you have to react. It does not mean you have to engage with it. It does not mean you have to take the responsibility, give yourself a hard time. No, especially if it's someone who has nothing to do with your life. Okay, random strangers, leave them. They should not be having your focus or attention. When it comes to people who are consistently showing up in your life, yes, create some good assumptions about them, which is benefiting you, which is making your day smooth, your life smooth, whatever you want to do, right? Create those assumptions about them, live in the end state of them showing up that way, and that is how they will show up in your reality. So remember these two categories, okay? There is specific, everyone is you pushed out with people who are a consistent part of your reality. And then there's this general beliefs, assumptions, which you have thousands and thousands of such beliefs in your subconscious mind. So don't waste your time going down the rabbit hole, trying to really overanalyze and overthink things about random strangers, okay? They're not worth your time, let it be. Okay, so that's all I wanted to discuss in this video. I really hope it adds value to your manifestation process. In case you have any kinds of questions around this topic, you can leave it in the comment section below. I also have my Instagram and Threads account linked below for a regular dose of motivation, and also my second YouTube channel, which is around mindset and self-development, not really from a manifestation perspective, but in general. So if the videos there interest you, you can subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, have a great week.